Hey there folks, and welcome back for another video. I'm your host Chris, or CDB, and today, what are we going to do? A lot of stuff. Today we're going to be shaving with the Merkur 37C. This is a slant razor. As you see, it is two-piece. Inside of it, we'll be riding a Supermax. Let me show you the blade wrapper. Supermax Platinum on its second use. And there is the blade. This is two-piece razor. So the top cap goes on like so, and you just twist it down. 37C, this usually goes around between $40, $45. Again, slant razor, using that sort of guillotine type cutting technique to cut the whiskers. Also, we have a new brush. This is the AP Shave Company 30 millimeter cashmere knot on what they just call their winter handle. And you probably saw something like this the other day on Social Sharp David, his channel. We ordered these probably pretty close to the same time. I'm also a sucker for translucent handles. I just love the look of this brush, and I've never tried the cashmere knot. It is very soft, but let's face it, all synthetics at this point are pretty soft. The price on this is stellar. It was $19.91 and then $27 to my door from Canada. So that includes international shipping, which is quite good. We're going to be using the legendary Mitchell's Wool Fat, which is one of those soaps that I think most people, almost across the board, appreciate. They just, very few people hate Mitchell's. It has just a nice, clean, old-fashioned soapy scent, which I actually like the scent. There's no way to describe it other than old-fashioned soapy. Kind of like an old-fashioned bar soap. And so I've wet the brush, and we'll get to loading here. Now, the cost on this, if you get the ceramic dish like this, it's usually around 35 bucks. But you can get the pucks usually for about $13, and the price per ounce on that is an excellent, say, $2.88 to $3 per ounce, which is quite good for a soap of this quality. And this is, again, a soap that I think most people tend to appreciate, or at least they say they do. It receives a lot of accolades. It's a hard soap, so you're going to get a lot of use out of it, and a lot of people choose to get it in the ceramic dish, and I did too. And again, this is one of those soaps that contains lanolin. You get a good post from it, so on and so forth. Generally speaking, just a soap that's well-liked and almost unanimously revered. I'm sure I can find somebody who doesn't like it, but more than not, people report that, oh, the fat. It's referred to as the fat a lot of times. If you are new and don't know, you can find it. I'll put some links below for the things you can find on Amazon, like the razor and this Mitchell's Wool Fat and the blades, aftershaves, and so on. So it looks like we're getting some loading. The only thing about a knot of this color, it's kind of hard to tell what kind of load you have in it, actually. So I don't know if I've gotten enough or not, but it's no big deal. We'll visit it if we need to. I hope everyone is doing well this fine Tuesday morning, this period of really tough times for a lot of people with this freaking corona going around. I saw where DC Shave, the DC Shaves, reported in the last video of his that I saw that he was furloughed, and that's a bummer. Even though he said he still gets paid, he said, I'd rather be earning my money. I knew right then when I saw that, I said, John Shaves 101, you did a good job raising your son, because he's got the right attitudes. Like, I'd rather be earning my money than sitting at home and getting paid for doing nothing. And so I thought that was nice. Ooh, this knot does feel good. Very nice. I was watching the Virtual Groom Room with Jack, a few of his videos, catching up. And he was talking about Paladin brush he bought, which was like close to $300, I want to say. And basically he was saying, it was too much, for what he got. And honestly, I tend to agree, because I remember the days when I paid that kind of money for Badger brushes before I learned better. Because honestly, when these $20, I guarantee you this thing feels like absolute luxury. Now, what luxury feels like to you in a brush might be different. Me, I want it soft, but I want it to be able to make a lather. Boy, this knot feels great. Ooh. Extremely soft, 30 millimeter, by the way. And this Mitchell's Wolfout is a hard soap, and as you can see, I didn't have any problem loading it up. Now, we'll see how the next few passes go, and if I need to load more, I will. But anyway, Jack was talking about, how much the brush was relative to the cost, or excuse me, relative to what you got. And it's a beautiful brush. Paladin makes beautiful handles, as do many other manufacturers. M&F, many others. Simpson. But the problem is most of them won't put knots like this in there. And this is just my own personal feeling. And I'm not affiliated with any brush making company of any sort. I like synthetic knots for a couple of reasons, which I'll get into. But my feeling personally, and this is just my feeling, is that a lot of these companies will not offer synthetic knots because everybody knows that synthetic knots don't cost much to source. Everybody knows it. And therefore, you cannot demand very nice and smooth. You simply cannot demand $300 for a synthetic knot. But what you can do is you can say, oh, look at me. I just found this new super Joe Exotic tiger hair natural hair brush that can only be found at Joe Exotic's. And if you haven't seen the Tiger King documentary, go watch it and you'll understand what I'm getting at. It is must watch. Anyway, and go on to say that this is so luxurious from the, finest exotic animals and, can only be found here and there and so on. And people really don't know a lot of times, unless you're in the business. I happen to know some people who are in the business. I'm not affiliated with them. I don't make money with them but believe me, I've had many conversations with people who make brushes, and the markup on Badger is extreme in some cases. And some of the claims, the more exotic the claim, the more exotic the price. And quite frankly, for me, it's an absolute waste. It's an absolute waste. I mean, they might as well say they're using a Joe Exotic tiger hair, because I didn't really recognize any better performance from one to the next. Now, that said, there are brushes that are more dense. They gel and bleach the tips. They bleach the tips to create that gel effect, and some people like that, and so on and so forth. But honestly, it's really a big money-making deal. And I suspect the reason they don't offer synthetics is because they know you can only charge about $100, maybe $150 at the most. Because then you're basically paying the handle and paying for a handle and a knot that's a few bucks. And so it's impossible to make these exotic claims about synthetic knots because everybody knows they don't cost much. And so that, in my opinion, is why you don't see, you'll see custom make. So for example, you can get a Wolf Whiskers or Nathan Clark or many custom brush makers will make you a fine, a handle that in many cases is equivalent to Paladin or whomever, M&F, for about $100, maybe a little over, maybe slightly less. But you won't see those companies do it. And I think, honestly, once you get hooked on, selling brushes for $250, $300, sometimes even higher, it's hard to sell one for $100. Especially if people start flocking to it and not buying the $300 brushes that are sitting there, the Joe Exotic brushes. That's what I'm going to call them from now on. The expensive Badger brushes that they make all these claims about sourcing these very unique hairs. I'm calling them Joe Exotic. Because for me, this is just based on my own experience. And I want to make one thing perfectly clear. If you spend $400 for a brush and you're happy, good on you. But I'm not. I don't knock you for doing that. I don't. Because really, if you enjoy it, that is all that matters. But for the rest of us who don't live in that world, it's a waste. It's an absolute and utter waste. And it's something that I did. And quite honestly, it's something that I regret. Some of my biggest regrets in purchases are natural hair brushes where I thought I'm going to really get something special, and then it turns out it wasn't all that special. And some of them, I've been told by people who know, some of the companies get them from the exact same place, and more or less the brushes just have different labels on them, and they call the knots different things. And so, now, am I in that business? No. But I do have friends that are. And so I'm just telling you what I have been told. That said, I am all for the companies making, whatever they can. If people are willing to pay it, God bless, good business. But I wish they would open up their lines, M&F, Paladin, and others, to these synthetic knots like this, like I'm using today. Because I'm telling you, I wouldn't mind spending $100, maybe a little more, for one of those really nice Paladin handles with a nice knot, nice synthetic knot. But I will never buy one as long as they have those overpriced Badger knots in them. I just won't do it. Now, it's overpriced only to me. I'm not saying it is for you. I want to make that very clear, because sometimes people get very upset when they think you're knocking what they love. And if you love it, it's worth it, right? So I don't want anybody to be upset, go, he's downing me for owning a $400 brush. I'm not at all. I'm just saying I won't do it. But I would pay more. I mean, look, I paid $20 for this synthetic, a little under 30, 27 to my door. I'm extremely happy with it. I love it. But I would pay considerably more, say, again, 100, maybe a little over, for one of those really nice M&F handles with a knot like this, or Paladin. So if any of you who are in the business of making those sort of brushes, or have connections with the folks at Paladin, please urge them to open their world to synthetics a little bit, these type of knots. Also, I would say the same to Simpson. I know Simpson has done it somewhat, but so far the knots that I've tried from Simpson Synthetic have not been very good. The last one I tried, which was on that Simfix, was okay, but it's nowhere near as good as this. Please talk to some of the people who are regular users of synthetic brushes and get their opinions on the knots that work really well. This cashmere is a very good knot. I can tell you that right now. I love it. I love it. Now, keep in mind, folks, when I'm talking about brushes, use case is very important. And I am not here to scrub my face. You see that behind me right there? That's where the face scrubbing happens, in the shower. This right here, lathering, is just to get soap on my face and to enjoy it. We'll do a little more scraping with this, steel. But the scrubbing happens in there. The lathering happens here. And I'm not looking to scrub and exfoliate and all that stuff. That's just me. Your use case may vary. So again, it's really important to consider that. But I guarantee you, there are lots of people out there. Synthetics and synthetic lovers, the numbers grow every single day. I remember when I first started advocating for synthetics, everybody called them makeup brushes. They made fun of them. Look where we are now. Look where we are now. It's a whole different world. And this is what, 5 years later? Back then, you remember Ray Pope putting the Plasson on the end of a drill and going, I got to man this makeup brush up. And people were actually buying makeup brushes and using it because they were making fun of us. And look at all these choices we have now. Some of those same people are buying these $20 brushes and love them, I might add. And I couldn't be happier for them because I'm like, hey man, I just saved you 250 or 275 bucks. I mean, you can't argue with that. That is great stuff. But anyway, Jack's video, really liked it. And he sort of got on the thread of the hobby and it being small and niche. And it very much is. I realize that a lot of us shave geeks think that, you know, everyone we see walking around can be turned on to wet shaving. Well, that's a hope we have, but most people don't do this. And so it's very important that we're sending these positive, you know, messages, and we don't have to agree. You know, don't confuse agreement with being positive. We can disagree a lot and still be positive and still be friendly and still be good stewards of the community. You know, because I have a lot of different feelings about a lot of things, and I like what I like, and other people like what they like, and that is all well and good. Nothing wrong with it. Sometimes people confuse and think that you have to agree or you're not positive, and that's not true. We can disagree, and we do. Many of us disagree. We disagree a lot, but we do it in a way that is agreeable, you know. Where we go, I respect your opinion, but here's the way I feel, and that works. By the way, this Mitchell's Wolf hat is indeed terrific. It is one of the better classic soaps out there. Just the other day, the stallion Anthony Esposito was talking about no one uses the classics. I have used several recently in the last few months. But I pulled this one out again today. I saw Johan from Shave and Butcher using it, and I said, let me pull out the Mitchell's Wolf hat again. It is really a good soap, you know. And a lot of people sleep on it. But also, on the same token, it's revered also. But sometimes people just don't reach for it because they have so many other artisan soaps that just, you know, there's terrific scents. But I like the scent of this Mitchell's. It's just got a classic soapy scent. I know that doesn't sound very sexy, but it's a good scent. And I really like it. All right. That was really nice, and I really enjoyed that. Let me rinse this off. We'll come back and get to the post. Stay tuned. And all right, we're back with the Lancaster Razor Works Pal. And one thing I must tell you about the fat, by the way, there's our Lancaster tail. Terrific. I love it. It takes a while to rinse off the Mitchell's, because it leaves that sort of sheen of residual slickness. It takes a while to get that off your face. It is a very slick soap. It is a very good soap. Everyone should try it. If you have not tried it, try it. It's an excellent soap. Some people have problems lathering it. I have not. You know, if you do, you could always add a little water to it, maybe soak it or something just to help it along. But I've never had any problems with it. It is truly excellent. Sorry for knocking the camera. In my view, Mitchell's Wolf hat should be tried by everybody. It is a classic that, as far as I'm concerned, it is must try. I'm going to use the Humphreys once again. We're just going to keep using this until it's done and see what sort of performer it is. I don't think it's, for me, it just doesn't smell quite as fresh as the Thayers. And I say that every day. I realize that. And if you've seen it every day, thanks for sticking with me. The Merkur 37C, terrific slant. I use it from time to time. I really enjoyed it. And the Permasharp blade, the Permasharp, what was it, Supermax? Let's look. Excuse me, I said Permasharp. I meant to say Supermax Platinum was quite good in this razor on the second use. APShave, this is called the Cashmere Knot, 30 millimeter in the, what he called his winter handle. This thing is terrific. Absolutely love it. Stellar, to my door for under 30 bucks. Please, if you're affiliated with the M&F Paladin, consider putting these kind of knots in your brushes. People will come if they're reasonably priced. Please, please, please consider it. If not, hey, we're going to keep taking advantage of this great value. That thing lathers, it's soft. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. AP Shave, well priced, well done, excellent. It's a home run. We're going to finish off today good old-fashioned skin bracer, because we used a classic soap in the Mitchell's Wolf app. We're going to use our old classic skin bracer, and I just wish this was the glass bottle. I'll have to get one on eBay at some point. My dad always had this around in the medicine cabinet. I'm going to go for another round. It's good stuff. It's very, very accessible here in the United States. I don't know about Europe. Very classic aftershave scent. If you all remember the commercials back from the 70s and 80s, they go skin bracer and then they go by minute. If you remember that, you know what I'm talking about. I want to thank everybody for joining me for this terrific shave today. I thoroughly enjoyed everything about it, and I hope you did too. I can't wait to see you again. Until next time, I want to remind you, it's your shave. Do it your way, and God bless.